All right, now we're recording. So everyone's gonna get this part.
Asshole.
I thought I hit record. Welcome back, everybody. This is this is episode 39 of Botox with Big Jim podcast. Welcome back. We got some crazy ass stories to be telling you today.
That's almost racist there.
How?
But I like it.
This is not even remote. That's a speech impediment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Welcome
true.
back. This is episode 39. We
Yes.
have a very gut-wrenching, what the fuck, this can't be real kind of story today.
It's a terrible story.
It's a horrible story. It's graphic, it's fucked up, and it's involving the guy right behind me. For everyone who's not watching, it is a large 6'3", 350-pound man with dreadlocks, and he's a very sick fuck. Let me put it to you this way. One of his idols was David Koresh. And if you don't know who David Koresh is, I don't know what kind of rock you're sleeping under.
Well, here's the thing. David Koresh, for the most part, people know him for what he stood for. Right or wrong, the guy believed in something. Anti-government, pro-Jesus, not in favor of the law, whatever. This guy is just a sick person. He should not be alive if he still is.
He's fucked. He's a fucked up dude. He's not any stretch of the word a cool guy.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It's disturbing on many levels.
Mm.
But this is what we're going to be doing. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, and the thing is, the story is going to be put out, but what we were talking about initially when that dipshit didn't record,
that's my fault.
What if you are willing, or if you even want to come on the show, mind you, you don't have to talk. You can mute your mic. You don't even have to put your mic on or your video screen. If you want to be a part of the show, just ask. We can hold up to 15 people. It's not a problem.
Preferably, we would like to have a conversation, though.
That's the whole point of this podcast. It's just a conversation. Now, mind you, we've had many family functions that we've talked about a lot of stuff that is very amusing and entertaining. It's the same thing. It's just you're on a computer
and we have a lot of shit to be talked at family functions.
And that's all it is. That's all we talked about. You know who my brothers and sisters are.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So we talk and talk. It's just fun coming on here. You don't even have to be a family member. There's distant friends. There's friends of our family members. There's people that we have met and are continually to meet along this process of being podcasters. It's all in fun, guys. And you don't need to be afraid to come on the show.
It's just
you don't need eyelashes or eyebrows. Just go like that.
Yeah, just put
yeah, we don't need to see your faces.
Just put your mask on.
You want to come on, come on. It's for fun, it's free, and we'll just get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's something cool.
All it is. It's a conversation.
And actually, hold on, before we go any further, did you happen to watch that new Framing Britney documentary?
No, I haven't watched that yet. I'm in the process of watching the Cecil Hotel with the crime at Cecil Hotel, not the Zach Bagans one, but the documentary
on
one
Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet, but I just saw Framing Britney last night. Dude.
I can only imagine. I feel bad. I feel so bad for that girl.
Yeah, I thought she was going crazy. I mean, I still kind of think she's going crazy, but she's living a fucked up life.
She's bipolar. She is the definition of being used. Disney did not help that girl.
Well, her dad didn't help.
Exactly. I know. I don't know the whole story. I haven't seen it, but even then, there were speculations. I'm sure Kevin Federline, if you're listening, pal, come on the show and we can talk about it. And tell us a lot of stories. He's a Fresno boy. You know that, right?
I just found that out right now.
Yeah, he's from Fresno. That's where him and his two kids live.
No shit.
Brittany's kids. Yeah.
Really?
Brittany's boys. Yeah.
Damn. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, so if anyone hasn't watched Framing Brittany, I cannot. This beer is killing me. If anybody has not watched Framing Brittany yet on Hulu, I highly recommend it. It is pretty fucking good, and I think I will be joining that hashtag Free Brittany because
Yeah, she needs to
she's
be left alone. I know everybody gives that little white boy shit for crying about free Britney,
leave
but
Brittany
yeah,
alone.
he probably had it right 10 years ago, or however long that
That was
was.
like 15 years ago, dude. That was a
Yeah,
long time ago.
yeah.
That was when viral videos were actually viral.
Leave that girl alone. She just wants a normal life.
Yeah. But anyways, back to our show. Today
Hmm.
this is episode 39. We are calling this one the Vampire Cult of Fresno, the vampire leader of Fresno, the man behind me, if you're just listening, Marcus Wesson. He is a sick, sadistic fuck who is unfortunately still alive and still serving time right now in San Quentin Penitentiary. So I hope this guy,
Your tax dollars at work, people.
yeah, keeping this fucking asshole alive. First and foremost, this is graphic, disturbing, and gut wrenching on many levels. Just so you know, this isn't fun. This isn't a pleasant one. You barely even talked because I think you were just from your past experiences dealing with some people, kind of just taking down a wrong trip of memory lane
Yeah, I mean it's not make believe. Shit like this is reality and it happens to people.
constantly.
And yeah, and it's unfortunate. You can only sweep so much stuff under the rug, and fuckers like this just like I
They're
said,
sick.
yeah, yeah,
They're
plain and
really
simple.
fucking sick.
No excuse and no other reason to say anything
Sick
other
bastard.
than good show. I hated it, but good show.
It was a
Next week,
terrible show.
let's next week let's just can you just read comic books every now and then?
You want me to just
Pull
read a comic
or
book?
just read some, dude. It's so much better than this story. Just anything.
Well, I
Read
can't.
it. I don't care. We'll navigate through a midget porn video. I don't care, whatever it is.
Sir, those they are referred to as dwarfs. They hold battle axes when they perform sexual intercourse. Okay?
It's more
Okay?
than what I do.
But what I will do is this. What I will do is I will leave this on a I will start it on a somewhat of a happy note.
I don't know.
Are you ready?
We'll go.
We're,
I
we're
guess.
we're
What does
leaving
this
this on a
do?
happy note before we start this episode.
Okay.
This is another TikTok video that I found. Okay?
I hope he doesn't stick his dick in there.
He's bussing right now. Just so everyone's
Bussing.
he so just so everybody can know the person in question is holding a Hunt's what looks like to be tomato paste in his hand.
No, son, that's pasta sauce.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, pasta sauce. Let's start this episode with a fun note before it gets fucking disturbing.
What did he say? What the dude? Are you kidding me?
Look at him. Thank you, TikTok. Just so
No,
just so
no.
everyone
Did
knows.
we thank your aunt yet for the beer yet?
I think so. Yeah, we did. Thank you, Lorena.
Okay.
Love you.
Thank you, sis.
Just so everyone knows, the video that we just watched was a chubby guy. I would assume Mexican, Latin descent. Just poured tomato sauce all over himself and said that he's bussin' and that it's so good. Don't judge his kink. Enjoy episode 39.
I ain't gonna judge anybody's kink. You're right, but god damn it, don't put that shit on TV on the internet.
He put it on the internet. What am I? I'm just relaying the message.
You're replaying the video, son.
It's funny.
It is, and disturbing.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 39. Marcus Wesson, the vampire cult leader. We love you. Stay suspicious. Stay hungry. Keep that boner up nice and strong. Get the blood flow going. We love you.
Stay brown and black.
Enjoy the episode.
Bye.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Bull Talk with BTWBJ podcast.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing.
I don't know who gave them this or who gave them the clearance.
On the crotch.
Oh my lord. Right there.
Can we Google that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I fucking stumbled down a dark hole and I love it.
Great cake parties. If I'm going to believe anybody's bullshit, I'm going to believe mine.
It sounds not politically correct, but
you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
All right, so this story is a story that I'm not gonna lie. You may have heard it, but it is unbelievably disturbing. It's definitely true crime. It's got some maybe mysterious shit to it. Psycho, which is this guy right here. If anyone's wondering who this gentleman is, I will get to his name in just a few minutes.
Yeah, it's not Rick Ross.
Definitely not Rick Ross. No. Rick Ross, the rapper, I'm assuming, because Rick Ross, the drug dealer, is someone who's far skinnier than Rick Ross, the rapper.
That's Freeway Ricky Ross.
That's right. That's right. All right. Here we go.
I already.
This is the gist of the story that we're going to talk about today. March 12th, 2004, the Fresno police was dispatched to West Hammond Avenue in Fresno, California. They thought this call was just a regular routine child custody call. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, what they found was being at a standoff for almost an hour and a half, and 9 people were shot and killed.
That dude, he killed 9 people?
9 people. Now, here's the really fucked up part. The ages range, the oldest from 25 to the youngest at 1 year old.
What were they, his family members?
We're going to get to it. This suspect, this gentleman here, was the father and grandfather of all 9 victims. Okay? Get ready. I'm not kidding. This is a extremely disturbing, Jesus will suck you dry, what an actual fuck episode of Botox with Big Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the vampire of Fresno, Marcus Wesson.
Okay. I hope it's not as bad as the vampire of Sacramento.
This guy is they're on different spectrums. All right. So this guy, Marcus Wesson, was born August 22nd, 1946. He was born in Kansas to his mother, Carrie Wesson, and his father, Benjamin Wesson. Marcus, was the eldest of 4 kids. His father was an alcoholic. He was abusive. And to top that all off, he was a pedophile.
Ooh, the trifecta.
Right. His dad, Benjamin, would flirt even with his own family members. Let me
disturbing. That's disturbing enough.
Let me repeat that. His father would flirt with his own cousins, his own nephews, and his own children.
Oh, male and female?
Yes. This guy was so twisted in the head that he even left home when Marcus was at a very young age, if I'm not mistaken, 6 years old, with Benjamin's nephew to live in San Jose and have a family together. Benjamin, the dad, and his nephew were living together and doing a bunch of crazy shit. His mother, Carrie, was a Bible thumper. She was a part of the Davidian Seventh-day Adventist Church. Adventist Church. Now, from what I've heard and seen online, they are extreme when it comes to understanding the word of God. Like, if you don't understand it, you get punished, which is what she did to her own kids. So when Marcus would not understand Bible verses completely, his mother would beat him with an electrical cord until he bled. Yeah.
Those hurt, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know. So
I've been on the receiving one of them.
So do
times.
BB guns. My mother shot me with one of those.
And she says she truly loves her children.
Oh, she does. She does. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, what are you drinking today?
Jack Daniels and Coke.
Jack and Coke, the original JD.
Out of a mason jar.
A mason jar. I'm drinking the Waterman Snow Leopard Pilsner right here.
Mm-hmm.
Waterman Brewing Company over here in Elk Grove, California. It's actually really, really good. It's very delicious. It's very smooth.
So you were able to buy 4 packs of that at that beer place?
No, it was just one.
Oh.
Yeah, they only sold them by singles. Anyways, back into the story. By the early 60s, the single mother and her 4 kids then moved to San Bernardino, California. This is where Marcus joined the military. He was now older. He was obviously 18 years old, and he dropped out of high school to go into the military. He served in the Army for 2 years. Once out of the Army, and also, by the way, names will get confusing and titles will get confusing. I tried to write it down, literally pen and paper. I got confused. So bear with me when it comes to a certain section, and I will let you know when.
Just call him Dreads.
Trust me, it's going to be a lot more difficult than that.
Oh.
Dookie
Dreads.
Marcus met Rose Solario and her kids in San Jose. He's now out of the Army, and he happens to find this woman. Rose was already married when these two met, but she cut off that marriage to be with Marcus. He saw this as an opportunity, saying, "You and these children have no direction." Now, keep in mind, she was already married to a man. Okay. They already had a father. They don't need a father figure. But in his own words, he said, "I can be that direction. I can be your shepherd."
What are they, sheep?
That's apparently what he thought. Apparently.
Jesus. All right.
Now, also as a side note.
Little psychopath.
It gets darker, I'm telling you. As a pastime, Marcus would pretend to be the beer is already kicking in. Marcus would pretend to play preacher because, like I said, his mother was a Bible thumping activist. She would preach the Bible, and she's very into it.
Well, I'm not sure that's the kind of role play I'd be into.
Well, this is what he did as a kid, and even after the Army. Then in 1971, while living with Rose, the pair become pregnant with their first child. Now, keep in mind, Rose already had children of her own. She had about 6. 6.
Jesus, she was Mexican, Latina.
She was a Latina woman. Yes. Don't discriminate, though, sir. You can't do that. You can't.
Where's all the white women?
You can't have Blazing Saddles. They became pregnant with their first child, Rose and Marcus. Here's where shit starts to get creepy. As Rose was pregnant with their first kid, Marcus starts looking to one of her daughters. Her daughter was 8 years old at the time. Her name was Elizabeth. He once told her, God has chosen you to be my bride, but because you are not of age yet, we must wait. This is all his saying.
Hey,
So he waited a total of 6 years. At 14 years old in 1974, Elizabeth married the now officially 27-year-old Marcus Wesson. But after that, she became pregnant with their first kid. She's 14 years old.
So they weren't. He wasn't ancestral. These were his stepchildren you're referring to.
These are his stepchildren.
Not that it makes it any better, but
it doesn't. So yeah, as you mentioned, these are not incest cases. This is technically his stepchildren, but nonetheless, still fucked up.
Nah, it's not necessary.
She's 15 years old and she's now pregnant with their first kid. Right? Gets worse. I'm
waiting for it.
Over the next 16 years, Elizabeth, not Rose, has 10 more kids with Marcus. However, his
stepdaughter
has
10 kids.
With him.
And the mom doesn't say shit.
The mother doesn't say anything. The mother has their Marcus, and Rose and Marcus have a son. Marcus and Elizabeth have 10 kids. 2 of the 10 die. So they have officially 8 children. Crazy. Meanwhile, Rose...
It's disturbing.
It's very disturbing. Rose's oldest daughter, Rosemary, was unable to care for her 7 kids. So guess where those kids come and start living with?
Hey, I get it. Go ahead.
Okay. So Rose already had 6 kids. Rosemary, her daughter, has 7. My math is horrible. That's what, 13?
Yep.
13. And then Rose and Marcus have their first kid. So that's a total of 14 kids. 14 kids are now living in this home. On top of that, the cousins of Elizabeth, Ruby Sanchez and Sofina Solario, come to live at the house now as well. So the house now grows from 14 people to 16 people. Okay? Total number, 16 people living in the house. Here are all of the children that were created by this man, Marcus Wesson. Sabrina, Cerlanio, Kalani, Sidonia, Dorian, Illabella, Gypsy, Elizabeth, Avie, Adrian, Ethan, Java, Markery, Jonathan, and Leslie, or Lise, Lise. That's just 15 kids. That's not including the parents and everything else.
Okay, nobody outside the home and none of the families recognized there was a problem.
This is where we're going to get into it. Because there's a big problem. People did notice a couple things, but they were kind of scared of this man. I mean, if you can't tell, he seems like a pretty big guy, right? Fairly decent.
Not according to that fence post. No, he's no taller than 5 feet.
So
a little bit taller than 5 feet.
This fence post, so for those who are just listening, I have an image of Marcus being escorted by a cop behind me on the screen here. Now the picture was taken at a downward angle. Marcus actually stood 6'5". He weighed up to 350 pounds. So now keep in mind, like I said earlier, this big fucking dude had sex with a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, and produced 10 children. Now I bet you're asking, why? Why the fuck would anyone let this happen? That's because
That and other things.
he was the leader of what some call a vampire cult. He
Just a
lived.
cult in general.
This is a cult in general, and it only gets more fucked up. On the outside, this guy actually was very calm and collective. He was very quiet, didn't really say much. But on the inside, and you could tell by his eyes, he is a fucking demon. Things escalated really quickly. Living inside the home, or a home, because they were also homeless, they, meaning the children and Rose, the mother, were to refer to Marcus as either Lord or Master. Okay? He ruled with an iron spiked fist with glass on it. Like, this guy was brutal. Now keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier, his mother would beat him with an electrical cord if he got Bible verses wrong. Beatings by this man were regular for any little thing. His son, Serafio, Serafino, Serafino. There we go. Serafino. His son, at one time when he was about 10 years old, 10, got a scoop of peanut butter and ate it in front of him. Marcus was so pissed, he beat him with a 2x4. 30 days. He would beat him regularly for 20 minutes every day for 30 days. And if he forgot, guess who had to tell him and remind him, hey, it's time for my beating. This dude was a fucking monster. I'm telling you, I'm telling you right now, this is not a heartfelt episode. This is very disturbing on many levels. But that's not it. 2x4s, electrical cords, much like his mother. Even baseball bats. Remember at the old A's stadium when they would give us those real thin little mini baseball bats?
I have one. Yep.
He would use those on his children as punishment for any little thing. If they spilt water, not a beer, not juice, not soda, water on the floor, which was linoleum tile, you could just wipe it up. He would beat them.
That's what it's made for.
Right. He would beat them with that bat. And just the icing on top, he would even beat them with a closed fist. Because
nice.
Why wouldn't he, right?
Sure, why not?
Sofina Solario, his niece and mother of their son, Jonathan. Now remember, this is his, I guess, niece by marriage. They had a son together also. Their son's name was Jonathan. She remembers him beating Jonathan at 2 months old because he wouldn't stop crying. So he beat him with a belt. So Sofina, his niece, baby mama, even was stabbed in the chest with a fork by Marcus when she tried stopping him one time. A fork. A fucking fork. Shit that you eat steak with. This dude stabbed her in the chest with a fork. You all right? You feeling good over there?
No. It's disturbing. It just angers me.
It's a fucked up story. I'm telling you.
It is. It just, but me personally, I was not abused like that, but I do have family members that are my elders that were, unfortunately disciplined that way.
In that same way?
Yeah,
they got stabbed with the fork?
Not stab, but the the punishments were always way too excessive. Always.
But that's also, you also have to remember too, and this is no excuse. It's not like I'm uh, uh, accepting of it or anything like that. But it was a different time.
Well, sick is sick.
Sick is sick, but
sick
I mean,
is sick. It doesn't matter the time.
but nowadays you can't even spank a kid. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to put this person's business on blast, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but there's a person that I know where in his custody, what's that called? Custody document.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that he cannot is spank his own child. It's his child. If she were to do something wrong, he can't spank her.
Well, that can be because of so many reasons, but this dude is just, yeah, it's disturbing. But go ahead. I'll listen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Marcus also preached that the world is full of sin, and that he was here to protect everyone in it, including his children. The family of 15 never had a home, but they moved around a lot. So like I said, they were homeless. For the first part of Rose and Marcus's relationship, they lived at her home. Eventually he said, I don't want to live here no more. Let's go live in a tugboat.
Fuck.
She said, where? He said, a tugboat. And she was like, okay, tugboat. They lived in a rusted out tugboat off of just outside of the bay in what is that? Mountain View, California. So what ended up happening is that they had no electricity, they had no running water, and only he can delegate who goes where and what they do. The family all by themselves were forced below deck so that nobody could see them. He didn't want anybody seeing his own kids, his own family, so they lived below deck of this already rusted out boat, which was kind of hanging on by a thread. Marcus was able to provide a roof over their heads after the boat, however, and this was in the form of a Salvation Army tent. Okay, they go from a rusted out boat to a Salvation Army tent. It's like
on land, though.
On land, so that's always good. They're sleeping on cots. They got a roof over their head, but if they got to go take a piss or a shit, there's a tree, there's a bush.
Oh, outside. Just
guess how long
outside.
Just outside. Guess how long they lived in the tugboat for?
10 years.
2 years. Very close though. They lived in the tent for 12.
All 16 of them.
12 years. Yeah.
All right.
Then he made up for it with a Bronx Tale sort of looking bus. He moved everybody from a tent to a old 1978 school bus. Now, after living inside the school bus, they would drive up and down the coast of California to basically almost like a truck. You go to truck stop to sleep to go to the next point. It was pretty much what they did. It was a very slow process. And then finally, after 12 years, Marcus was able to buy an old, worn down office building. It was really more like 2 suites in Fresno, California. Now, I bet you're asking, well, how the fuck did this guy have enough money or whatever to get this place? I'll get to that in just a second. This little segment of the podcast I would like to call Vampire Jesus. This is where the vampire cult really comes in and shines. Now, Would you be surprised if I said Marcus idolized someone that everyone, and if you don't know this name, by the way, I will be shocked. Not you specifically, Dad, but everyone listening or watching. Can you guess? I'll give you 2 guesses as to which cult leader Marcus idolized. Idolized, like put him next to God.
Jim Jones,
That's a good guess. Or
David Koresh.
ding, ding, ding. During the Waco siege of 1993 in Waco, Texas, Marcus would tell the family after buying this home and these little office spaces, he would sit there and tell the family, this man is just like me. He's making children for the Lord. This is something that we all need to be doing and spreading the love of the Lord to everybody in California. Now, keep in mind, Koresh was also under investigation by the FBI for child abuse and statutory rape. So there's a little bit of that in common with them, huh? A little bit of crazy shit going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, right? And much like David Koresh, Marcus hated law enforcement. Actually, I'm thinking that we should probably do like a Waco siege episode pretty soon. That'd be really good.
Sure.
So he hated law enforcement to the point he hated law enforcement so much. Marcus mandated a suicide pact.
Jeez.
So
what?
If anybody were to find out that he was fraudulent or that he was having sex with underage girls, then law enforcement finds out and they come to take him away. He made it very clear that no one was taking him, his wives, his children away, and so that they would have to kill themselves.
Okay, but wait, how many wives? It's his initial wife and then the kid, his stepdaughter that he remarried. So he had 2 wives, or did he have more?
It's coming up. He definitely had more. He definitely had more.
From his own family or somebody outside the family.
Just wait.
I can't. I'm getting irritated.
I know. Now, mind control was something that this guy pretty much had. He, like I said, he was very calm on the outside, but his eyes, the way he spoke, everything that he did, he would manipulate them very, very, very easily. If he said jump 12 feet, if he said jump 12 feet in the air, they'd do it. It wasn't the case of jump and they ask how high. He said do this, they do it, regardless of what it was. He had so much mind control over not just the women, but the kids as well. But the girls were not able to talk to any man, whether it was a boy or a man, outside of their home. They were to walk behind Marcus at 6 feet. If there were any more or any less, he would beat them when they got home. He would not say anything to them in public, and they were not permitted to speak in public, even if he spoke to them. Which makes me laugh, because can you imagine if some old high school bully saw him and like, fucking Marcus, and just beat the shit out of Marcus, and he gets up after getting his ass whooped, and he's like, how come you guys didn't do anything? Well, you're not supposed to talk in public.
Yeah, you're our ruler. Did it hurt?
Fucking dipshit. So, Daddy got his ass whooped. All right, here we go. Now, Marcus, this is very disturbing also. Marcus feared that his sons, because he had 3 of them, all by Rose, the woman that he met when he just got out of the army. He feared like a phobia that his sons would become gay if they spent too much time with their family members. The boy family members specifically. Saying,
so this guy was definitely homophobe.
Oh,
if
he's
not
homophobe.
homo himself.
Yeah, homophobic. He could have easily been what's it called? Homosexual as well. He's already a pedophile. Dude
Well, you
was
said
fucked
he
up.
like, yeah, his dad probably raped him.
I wouldn't be surprised. Or diddled him. That sounds terrible.
No, it is terrible. But there's motherfuckers out there that are like that.
Now, this is, like I said, this is where the vampire Jesus comes in. This man had written his own Bible. He also claimed himself, much like David Koresh, to be a prophet. So when he wrote this Bible, he would have 4-hour-long Bible studies. 4 hours. I don't give a shit what you do, whether it's construction, whether it's a surgeon. Fuck, dude, you could be cleaning toilets. Anything for 4 hours is a long fucking time. And to sit there and have a guy ruling over you for 4 hours, standing there making sure that you get these Bible verses correctly, or else he's gonna beat the shit out of you, is terrifying. And that's exactly what he did. He would beat the women and the children if they got the Bible verses mixed up and or wrong. So what he ended up doing is he taught his family how to read so that it wouldn't be so strenuous on them. They were to read on their knees, on almost like what's it called? I'm like Muslims, how they get the little carpet or that little rug.
Mm-hmm.
So they were to have pillows underneath their knees, and they would sit on their knees and read the Bible like this. Their arms would be perched up. They can't have it sitting on something. They'd be holding it right in front of them while he would walk in between everyone, making sure that, like, this dude would go take a nap and come back, and like they would still be reading. Dude was fucking twisted.
A little bit.
His Bible, this is a very confusing name, by the way. This was his Bible name. In the Night of the Light for the Dark by Marcus Wesson. He claimed that this was to keep your soul pure, and reading this book will have you welcomed into the gates of heaven. Another part of his Bible was that they had to drink each other's blood. They drank each other's blood. Okay? Mm. And they drank his blood because, like David Koresh, he was a prophet. He was the Messiah or something like that.
So he thought.
Now, he had a very tight grip on their reality to the point where, like I said, if he said jump 12 feet, you did it. It was really fucked up the way that he had them all pretty much brainwashed. The dude wouldn't scratch his own armpit. He wouldn't scratch his own balls.
He'd have one of the kids do it?
Yes. So before I go any further, let me know, what are you thinking about? What's going? What wheels are?
Just dude like that make me sick. They really do. It's unfortunate, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I don't know anybody who's that extreme and that fucked up, but I know of a few people older than me that were very similar to this. They were just twisted individuals.
They had done things like this, similar, somewhat lightly, hopefully lightly, not as
lightly, but they were just twisted fucking individuals. They were so insecure, and they probably had shit done to them. But yeah, I've known a couple that were unfortunately thought just like this guy, not as having an occult or religion. Definitely pedophile. Definitely someone, not anybody that I haven't thought about in a while till you start bringing this shit up. But yeah, it's disturbing.
Jesus. Well, sorry for that.
That's all right.
Didn't
But
mean
that's
to-
my life, not yours.
Yeah. It's not as easy though.
No,
All right.
it's not. I mean, it is what it is. It's like you said, it's a different time.
Yeah.
But even to say that's a cop out. I mean, a sick individual is a sick individual. The process is passed down from generation to generation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, and I don't mean this like it's a different time, so it's more acceptable. I mean, there is somewhat of a gray area there. And I say that because an example, right? Way back in the Roman days. Now, this obviously is through text, it's through books. We weren't around to see this, but Alexander the Great, right? It was very common for people within his time to have sex with other men, to have relationships with other men.
Oh, it's common today for that to happen. They're called
Right.
homosexuals. They
Right.
have their lifestyle. There's nothing against that.
No, there's not. But what I'm saying is they didn't see anything wrong with it then, and it even continued with from what I've read, and if I'm wrong, I really hope somebody would correct me, to boys, teenagers.
Well, that's abuse. That's physical abuse. But
But-
again, that is, I watch Gladiator. Gladiator has all the innuendos of that. The
Yep.
emperors had boy toys.
Yep.
Yep. Spartacus, half of the Spartacus series were men with men, but that's just because they were enslaved. They were imprisoned. So, the feeling they're going to have, well, someone who's going to get it, literally. So I get what you're saying, but we're the 21st century. Shit like that shouldn't be an excuse to say, well, they did it back then. Well, you know what? We have cars that fly almost. Back then, you guys didn't have fucking running water.
Are you kidding me? They
You guys
didn't
had people
yeah.
wiping your ass. Here, you wipe your own.
Yeah, I mean, really, I don't even think we should be wiping our ass. A bidet should be put in every house. Personally,
The emperor, I don't know about.
The
I'm just
emperor?
saying the emperors used to sit in their facilities, and their slaves would be in the cubby hole in the back, and they would wipe their ass. Did you know that?
I learned something new today.
No, they would literally go into like an outhouse, like a trough, like a piston trough, right? And there would be seats, just like a cutout of a toilet, and the slaves would be in the backside waiting for them to fucking shit, and they would wipe their ass.
They didn't have
So basically,
paper then, they didn't have,
they had their cloth.
yeah.
They had their cloth, and then they had their water.
Oh,
And that's just in the Roman time.
that's
Can you imagine
fucking
before that?
sick. No,
Well.
I'd rather not. I'd much rather not. I'm not a big fan of poop sometimes.
Me neither.
Yeah. So like I said, how did he make all his money? Well, no surprise with this, he was on government benefits. He played the part. He was disabled, quote unquote. So
Mhm.
got that disability check. He was a
Mhm.
veteran. He got that veteran
Mhm.
check. And on top of that, he was on welfare
For 16 kids.
for 16 kids. So
That's a lot of food stamps.
a lot of food stamps. But did any of that go to the women and children?
Never. Look at the size of that fucking dude.
Look at that guy.
Yeah.
He's 350 pounds. He had a lot of government cheese that was the size of this fucking can.
Oh no, government cheese was bigger than that, dude. I used to
Like
hand
this.
that shit out. Government cheese was 18 inches long, 4 inches
Jesus.
square. That was
God.
government cheese in a box.
That's insane. I'm 4 inches shy. That's crazy.
In a box. I'm serious.
Nobody got that joke?
No, I got it. You're lying. You're Mexican.
That's true. I am 4 inches. Cuatro.
But seriously, I used to hand that shit out
Did you
by
really?
the pallet. Well, my grandma Rosie in Jingletown's where I'm from. That was our food drive.
No shit.
Government cheese, best butter in the fucking world. The butter cubes were like 2 inches thick, 4 inches wide, and about 8 inches long. A solid butter.
No shit.
MRE style mashed potatoes, MRE style food, powdered milk, peanut butter jars that were probably 6 to 8 inches tall.
They're like this big?
Yeah, but thick.
No
Imagine a
fucking
big
way.
Jiffy peanut butter jar, and all it said was peanut butter
I'll take that.
white in a white label. No, I'm serious.
I'll take it.
We used to hand this shit out almost weekly. You can ask any of my cousins, your older cousins.
Yeah.
Ask them all. Anyone, and they will
Damn.
tell you what we used to hand out and what we all used to have. We all would, I mean, because of the donation the state had gave the church so much that my grandmother, we would feed the neighborhood and we would have shit that we would give extra. I mean, mind you, there were, you had to sign document, you had to tell who you were, you had to give your address, so the notification, so the government knew where shit was going, how much of an allotment to give to this sector or to this church. Well, Grandma Rosie, my grandmother, your great grandmother, she was no joke. She got it. Christina.
Yeah.
Christina, I love you. And there's no disrespect in any, but the way you are is a lot like our grandmother. And I praise you. And I hope you cut this and send it to her because she is a lot like her. She thinks like her. She's mean like her for sure. But she has a drive. She's definitely out to help people. She's a very giving person.
She also made that baby washer.
Yeah.
Johnson & Johnson picked up.
Yeah. All
Shout
my
out.
cousins, all.
Shout out cousin Christina. You're a fucking kick-ass, man. Love you.
Yeah. So no, she's a lot. She definitely followed in those footsteps as far as giving back to the community. Well, Christine, she gives back to a whole.
Did you say followed or fondled?
Followed in those steps as far as a nurturer. She's a giver by heart.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, she's just like her. And she was a baby when grandma was around. So I don't know if she remembered a lot of the stuff, but a lot of the characteristics I see in her is just something that she, by default, she generated because of Grandma Rosie.
Yeah.
But again, hats off. I praise her and I love her a lot. But yeah, no, we used to have cheese coming out of our ass.
That's sick.
This was our meal. Whenever you hear Cousin Juan, I know we're off the subject about this dickhead, but whenever you hear Juan talk about government cheese and quesadillas,
yep,
this shit made the best. It melted like Velveeta, but it wasn't nasty like Velveeta. This shit was 100% cheese.
Really?
Oh, dude, imagine a block of cheese like that long. And bologna. Sometimes we'd get bologna. You ever seen a chub of bologna?
A chub? A chub of bologna.
A chub bologna, yeah. A chub of bologna, like the size of this ball and about 2 feet long. Yeah, there was some good fried sandwiches. Tell me, dude. Yeah. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Is this dickhead vampire Fresno? Go ahead.
Son of bitch.
Yeah.
So this guy, as I mentioned, he was on welfare, so he was getting a lot of government help. Now, as I also mentioned, he had 10 kids with Elizabeth alone. He had a son with Rose. He had another son with her niece, technically his niece by marriage. He also had, and this is where it gets weird. This is where it gets real weird. Like I said, he had 10 kids with Elizabeth. He had a kid with, it was Ruby and the other one. I can't think of her name at the moment because I just lost it. But the other niece, they had their own kid. Marcus, as you mentioned before, or as you asked before, he said, was this incestual? At the time, it wasn't. Eventually, it did. He ended up having 3 kids with Ruby. He had
His own daughter.
his own daughter. He had 3 kids with her, so they were his granddaughters. Those kids that he eventually killed, as I mentioned, were his grandchildren. His niece by marriage was Ruby, and at the age of 13 gave birth to 2 of his grandchildren. Marcus would be 44 at this time. Illabella, one of Marcus's and Ruby's kids, he would molest at the age of 9 before he taught, quote unquote, taught her how to perform oral sex. Finally, at age 22, this is years later, Ruby and her sister, Sophina, escaped this cult. The pair, after a few weeks, made a plan. Now, keep in mind, they were these women, these girls, they were able to go out, have regular jobs, and go make money in X, Y, and Z. They couldn't talk to anybody there other than who they had to talk to. Like if it was a manager, they had to talk to them. They would make money and bring the money back. So after a while, they were like, you know what? Fuck this. We're getting out of here. Can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. Now, remember the 2-month-old Jonathan? He's now 7. Yeah. He's now 7 years old. After making this plan, Ruby and her sister, Sophina, escape. They kind of just walk out the door, but they say escaped in multiple reports. And now on that day of March 12th, 2004, the sisters, Sophia and Ruby, returned to the Fresno home because they feared for the children there. Now, a lot of the neighbors would report there was a massive amount of people there, ranging from ages early 20s to early 30s. These were the people that they worked with. These are the people that they knew. Marcus was still impregnating the children and beating them while they were trying to get all of these other kids out. But like I said before, he brainwashed a lot of them. They saw him as their Lord, as their master. You all right?
Yeah, I'm just listening. Go ahead.
According to some of the witnesses, when Ruby came to the house, Marcus stood in front of the threshold of the door, and she yelled at the top of her lungs, "I came to get my son. Give me my son back." I'm sorry. Sophina said that, not Ruby. She then ran past Marcus. She forced her way past Marcus, grabbed her son, and was making her way back out towards the door. Ruby was still waiting outside. According to reports, Ruby saw Sophina walking towards the door when Elizabeth, the 8-year-old girl that he first molested, threw a right cross and punched Sophina in the face. Knocked her down to the floor. Yeah, knocked her down to the floor, picked up Jonathan, the little boy, and walked to Marcus's bedroom. Sabrina, that was one of the oldest daughters, Sabrina Wesson, yelled from inside of the home, "You two are nothing but a pair of whores and 2 stuck-up bitches." She then yelled, "You need to bow to your master now." This is also coming from reports from witnesses that saw everything happen. Neighbors called the cops. Cops showed up. Fresno officer Elroy Escardino stated that Marcus was unpleasantly calm during the entire situation. After going back and forth for almost a half an hour, it's pretty much a standoff. both Ruby and keep forgetting her name, Sophina, are standing outside of the home, and they're saying, "We want our kids, bring our kids back," but nobody's making their way in. She already got clocked in the face, so she left. She wanted her kids. She's yelling at the top of her lungs, "Bring me my kid! Bring me my kid!" Marcus is standing in the door the entire time. Police are saying, this is where that police custody, or where they thought police custody was needed, or child custody was needed. And it obviously turned out to something more. After about a half hour, like I said, Marcus turned into the home, closed the door. About an hour later, over an hour later, negotiation teams and SWAT teams were able to speak with Marcus, through the windows. But he was refusing to come out. He was holding the children in the home and refused for any one of them, including himself, to leave. And then, much like his idol, David Koresh, at around 3:30 p.m., 4 gunshots rang out. Now, there were 9 kids in the home. There were 9 people in the home. But you only heard 4. You would expect 9 shots. Instead,
not if they went through the kids. They're not very thick.
That's exactly what he did.
Lined them up.
He literally lined them up, put the gun to one head, pulled the trigger. He lined them up in 4 rows. Like I said, the ages ranged from 1 to 25 years old. With no emotion and not speaking, Marcus then opened the front door, exited the home, and was literally covered in blood, head to toe.
Oh, he thought he was special not to shoot himself?
Yeah, he's the Messiah, remember? He had
I don't remember, actually. The story is just, it's killing me, dude.
He had a Ruger MK2 22 caliber handgun. He placed the gun at the front of each victim's eyeball. Not held it at a distance, he pressed it up against their face and then pulled the trigger. The oldest
bounced around like a ping pong ball.
Yes. The oldest victim is fucked up to say, was one of his first lovers, Elizabeth, the 8-year-old that he molested. The youngest was her daughter, The youngest was her daughter, Sedona, at 1 year old. Finally, on June 17th, 2005, Marcus was convicted of 9 counts of first-degree murder and 14 counts of rape and molestation on 7 of his daughters and nieces. He is currently serving death row in San Quentin prison.
He's still alive.
Still alive.
So it's been 17 years, and they decided to keep his ass alive still?
Yep.
Where's his wife?
She, unfortunately, was alive during all of this, but she also left. She just left.
She's just in hiding?
Yeah, she left.
I don't blame her.
No one knows
How the fuck
where
you
she
get
is.
rid of that? It's probably the best. And this dude's still in San Quentin now.
Still in San Quentin now. Hopefully he has coronavirus.
Hopefully he's just fucking dead.
Yeah, hopefully. So that was the vampire cult of Marcus Wesson. I told you this episode was not going to be a heartfelt, easy one to do.
No, it's quite disturbing. It's there's people like that, unfortunately. They're sick for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not like they were born with it. It was passed on. So his daddy, can you imagine what his daddy went through?
No. Not even.
No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 39 of Botox with Big Jim podcast. And next week will hopefully be funner. It
better be.
Yeah. Listen,
get a drinking show or
I
something.
told you. Yeah, we could do that. Peace out, everybody. I hope everybody, hopefully, some level of some spectrum level enjoyed the story. This is a fucked up one. And what's even crazier, when I found out about this guy, I didn't do research of like, oh, crazy cult person in California. I was at my day job and I happen to hear people who I work with talk about, oh, do you know about Ed Kemper? Do you know about, they're talking about serial killers. So I'm like, oh, my ears perked up. And actually at the time I was listening to Amanda and Cassidy talking about Israel Keys. That guy's fucked up too.
Mm.
And I asked them, have you heard about this guy? And they said no. And then someone said, have you ever heard of Marcus Wesson? I said, no, I've never even remotely heard of that guy. This guy's son is still alive. They're all of them, some of them are still
The
alive.
ones he hadn't shot are still alive.
Correct. The guy that I work with goes to the gym with his son.
And how's his son?
He said he's fairly normal. He just he knows that people know the story and he doesn't want people reflecting what he did to his son.
That's a stigmata. He's never going to outrun that, unfortunately.
No, ever. And what's even crazier, actually, you know what? I'll pull it up right now. I'll show you what his kids look like, what his son looks like. But they do look just like this guy. It's fucking crazy. And it's
they
crazy.
Got families?
Some of them do, some of them don't. Yeah. But it's just insane. So this is the son right here. Let me see. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Ironically, guess what his son ended up becoming?
A priest.
No, actually, that's not that bad. No. He is actually, and I'll pull it up right here. I'll share the screen. He is actually a police officer. That's his son right here. You see him?
Yeah, it's him.
Yep, that's his son. Crazy, right?
Who are those women?
Those are his daughters / granddaughters.
The ones he didn't kill.
Yeah, actually, I'll pull that up also. I'll also be posting this on Instagram as well.
You sure you want to put their faces on blast like that, dude?
It's already been in the news and everything. Look, these are his 3 boys right here. Yep. That's them living in the tent right there. Look at this dude's fucking eyes. Tell me that guy's not creepy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So that was episode 39, the Marcus Wesson Vampire Cult of Fresno, California. Like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed it to some certain extent. This wasn't a heartfelt one. It was a pretty fucked up one. I understand that. And next week will be a little better.
I'd rather watch disabled porn or something than go through this fucking type of story.
Sorry.
Betrayus porn.
Betrayus porn. Well, everybody, I hope everyone can please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Please be sure to follow us on Instagram. Go check out our YouTube page and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. So every time we post a video, a new episode, you will be notified. With that being said, everyone enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Wednesday. Talk to you later. Peace.
Good night.